Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to Neely by Nature. My name is Neely. If you are new to this channel, thank you so much for joining me today. And if you are a returning subscriber, thank you so much for your support. So let's just get into today's video, which is basically about the power of forgiveness and not giving a fuck. I really wanted to make this video because one of the biggest mistakes I've made in my life was making excuses sometimes for people who were just a little shitty. And I think that came from a place of just wanting to see the best in people. And maybe a part of it was also a fear of being abandoned. So maybe there was parts of me that preferred to keep a relationship, maybe because it's like, you know, we've been friends for so long, or we've been together for so long, or, you know, your family, whatever it is. I felt like I had to be loyal. And so I continuously made it work with people who maybe sometimes weren't as deserving of my kindness. And because of that, a lot of these relationships was always on me to continuously hold together. So even if that meant like they were in the wrong, I was constantly having to pick up the pieces and work at the relationship. I think when I came back from Costa Rica, if you're new to this channel, I was in Costa Rica for a few months, kind of on a spiritual journey. When I came back, I was like super blissed out. And in a few weeks, I really felt heartbroken coming back because I realized that a lot of people, maybe not a lot of people, but I felt like people here in the US are very individualistic. So very much always looking out for only their interest and what's best for them. Whereas when I was in Costa Rica, it was very much like a collectiveness. There was a feeling of like, we are all in this together, and that, you know, when we do well in our lives, it's always to make sure that everyone else is good. And so coming back to New York and coming back to relationships where I felt like I was in a bit of a tug of war between who I was and who I was becoming. And so I was looking at a lot of my relationships from like a different lens. And some relationships actually improved, whereas some relationships I feel like have deteriorated. I feel like in the past, I probably would have taken it really harsh. And you know, I won't say that I don't feel sad about how some of these relationships have come to an end, but I think that right now I feel at peace. And I think that the way that I've come to peace was to really find forgiveness and at the same time not give a fuck, if that makes sense. I think that is really the secret sauce to finding inner peace, is to forgive people even if they didn't ask for your forgiveness, and to at the same time not give a fuck. It's hard to do, especially when you really love someone, because I think personally for me, I always viewed unconditional love as having no barriers, having no boundaries in loving someone. So even if someone fucked up, it's like, I love you unconditionally, I accept you as you are. And that is not unconditional love. Unconditional love is not just loving someone even when they hurt you continuously. Unconditional love is creating boundaries, right? And boundaries are not barriers. Boundaries is a list of rules of how you treat yourself. And that took me a long time to really develop and then utilize in my life. You know, in previous videos, I've talked about this, about like self-love and boundaries. But right now, I feel like this is the first time in my life where I'm actually utilizing it in my life and putting it into actions and really creating boundaries with others, especially with the people that I love. And when you love, it's hard because you're loving from a place of the best intentions. You only have good intentions when you're loving, right? At least for me, you know, I have the purest intentions. But over time, if someone keeps hurting you, if someone keeps pushing your boundaries, and this could be a friend, this could be a coworker, this could be, you know, a boyfriend, girlfriend, a husband or wife, a family member, it doesn't matter. If someone keeps pushing you to your edge and they keep repeating the same cycles, they keep hurting you, and they know that they're hurting you, I think that that's when you have to place boundaries and maybe create some distance between you and that person. And maybe that results in the ending of a relationship, or maybe that ends in the beginning of something new. It really depends on what lens you choose to see it as. But I think the most important thing to finding inner peace is to really just forgive people and to not give a fuck, you know? And I think it's easier said than done, of course, but I think in the long run, it's the most beneficial thing that you can do for yourself, mentally, physically, emotionally, energetically, is to forgive people and not give a fuck. And maybe it's not you saying, I don't give a fuck about you, but it's like, I care, but I don't give a fuck. You get what I'm trying to say? It's like, I care enough about you to know that me continuously working at a relationship where I'm the only one showing up is doing us both a disservice, because it's making me deplete my own self-worth, and it's only allowing you to think it's okay to be a jackass. Beautiful. Maya Angelou has a really beautiful quote where she says, when someone shows you who they are, you should believe them. And I think that when we love someone, we only want to see the best in them. So we continuously make excuses for their shortcomings. But in the end, you're actually really doing them a disservice, because you're not giving them the opportunity to actually change for you. By you holding on to them, it's because you don't believe in them. You don't believe that they have the power to change and be better. If you really do love someone, you also believe in them, right? And you also believe in their power to change. And if they can't change, then it was never personal. This is something that is so deep in their trauma, and it's so not in your jurisdiction to even go there with them. You cannot go and change anyone despite how much you love them, because I think we sometimes internalize that when someone fucks us over, when someone hurts us, it's because they didn't see us as enough. They didn't see us as being good enough. And that's the shit that really hurts, is when you start to question your own self-worth. That's the shit that keeps you up at night, when you're wondering why this person hurt you, why this person ghosted you, why this person continuously disregards you in their life despite you being the best person to them. And when someone in your life crosses that boundary where now suddenly you're questioning your own self-worth, that's when you really have to cut it off, because no one in this world should have that much power over you where you start to question your own self-worth. And so it's important in that moment to like forgive them, because one, you're probably not going to receive that apology right now, you know? So you have to find forgiveness from yourself so that you can let go. You have to find closure on your own, because they're not going to give you that closure. You need to go and find that closure for yourself. And that's what makes you grow stronger as a person. To really be wise, you got to be dumb. And there's been so many times in my life I've made so many mistakes. I've gave to the wrong people. I trusted the wrong people. I made friends with the wrong people despite, you know, people saying you shouldn't be friends with this person. Like, I've made so many mistakes like this. And I don't regret any of them, because there was a time where I didn't have thick skin. I just would crumble every time someone would hurt me. And over time, when you keep getting hurt by people, when life doesn't go your way, when, you know, you fail, when you receive rejection, it's okay. Like, it's the best experience is to experience rejection and failure, because this is the shit that makes you strong. You know, you can't be strong if you never were weak. You know, you have to be weak in order to be strong. You got to be dumb to be wise. And in the process of forgiving people who didn't ask for your forgiveness, you might feel anger, you might feel hatred, you might feel frustration, you might feel like I cannot forgive this person. It's okay to feel those negative feelings. Like, it's okay to feel hatred towards someone. What's not okay is to deny yourself of what you're feeling. And so I think it's okay to feel hatred in that moment and let yourself feel it to the fullest capacity, and then let that shit go. Let it go until you felt the full capacity of that negative emotion, whether it's hatred, whether it's anger, whatever it is. Feel it to its fullest capacity, and then let that shit go, and let them go with that. And this isn't like a one-time thing. You're gonna feel these emotions continuously, you know? Anger will come up, and then you'll have to feel the anger, and then you'll have to forgive them, and then you go into not giving a fuck, and then again, repeat. Until you really reach that point of like, I don't give a fuck. And that is the sweet spot of not giving a fuck. It's caring, but not giving a fuck. And there's a difference, right? It's like, I care for you, and because I care for you, I don't give a fuck. Because this shit that you're bringing to the table, it's not you at your best. And for that, I don't have to put in any effort. And when you're ready, when you can meet me at my level, well, then that's an opportunity for us to revisit and we can come back into alignment. But I think that when you're in these like really toxic cycles with people in your life, it's important to really just forgive, let go, and not give a fuck. That is the secret sauce to finding your inner peace. And there's been so many times in my life where, you know, I've been rejected. There's been so many times I've been fucked over. There's been so many times where I've just was not treated well. And there's been so many times in my life where I also haven't treated other people well either. But the really amazing thing about an experience like this is that I know that when the next time I do hurt someone, and that's probably guaranteed, right? We are human beings. We're going to hurt other people, is that I probably won't feel like it's difficult for me to apologize. You know, maybe I can give someone something that I didn't receive, which is an apology, which is an explanation, which is some level of closure that I didn't receive because I went through something that taught me that, hey, I can give this to someone else, even though I didn't receive it. And I think those are the things that makes you into a better person, into a more stand-up person. You know, someone who's not constantly looking out for their best interest, someone who's not constantly looking to make their ego feel good. People are so afraid of getting their ego hurt that they rather hurt you than their ego. And that to me is just, that to me is just sad as fuck. It's probably why we are in the state that we are in as a country, as a whole, as a world. The country's so fucked. The world is so fucked. And it's because people with, you know, these huge egos are creating so much destruction for the world. And naturally, when our world leaders are acting like this, the citizens of the world are going to act the same, right? They're going to act from a place of ego instead of love. But that's why I say that it's so important to get to a place of forgiveness and not giving a fuck, because in that way you're at peace within yourself and you've already created boundaries. So you don't let in people who don't have your best interest in, you know? And you can only really learn that by kind of going through really fucked up shit, by really getting your ass hurt, by life just simply humbling you. It's always interesting to me because I always see really great people get hurt. And it's because really great people want to see the best in people. Really great people don't have bad intentions. Really great people don't want to fuck you over. Really great people don't want to hurt you. Really great people are not looking to have one up on you. Really great people don't care about getting their ego hurt. They just want to love you. They just want to pull you into their lives and give you the biggest hugs. Like, really great people are not, you know, individualistic. And that's why life has to humble those people, because it has to show us that, like, not everyone deserves you. People have to earn someone as amazing as you. You can't just go around and give. And then when people fuck you over and hurt you, you're just sitting there with the empty bag, like, why? And that has been me so many times. And it's because you're not even valuing what you're giving. You're not even expecting anything in return. And it's like, you don't do things to expect things in return, but it should be natural, right? Like, you give and you receive. But when you're giving and you're not receiving and you're thinking this is what it is to be a good person, it's like you have to question yourself. It's like, why are you giving when you're not receiving, when you're not being respected? And respect is the minimal. So when someone's not even respecting you and you're still giving, that's a you problem too. You know, that's a you problem. That comes from a place of fear of abandonment. That comes from a place of not feeling good. And when you keep fucking with the same people who do that shit to you, you will deplete yourself of any self-worth, of any self-love. Your entire self-worth will be only validated by that person. And that's a really sad place to get to. But anyways, I just wanted to make this video because, you know, I just came back from Costa Rica. Now it's going to be 2 months and I'm getting ready to leave again, which I'm really excited about. These past 2 months have honestly been, it's been a lot. And it's been actually really heartbreaking and sad and tumultuous. But I realized like I had to come back home and to really see if the work that I did on myself came through for me. And one of the biggest improvements I've made on myself was to simply like forgive and let go and not give a fuck. And it has brought me so much inner peace. And at the same time, it's also brought me a lot of pain to really just stick by this. But I know at the end of the day, this is the best decision I've made for myself. Is like not letting myself go, not letting anyone have so much power over me. It's just like simply just letting things be and really trusting the process. And part of trusting the process is like believing in myself, you know? And I think that somewhere along the way, I lost that. I lost sight of believing in myself. And right now, I feel like I'm just building myself back up, but it's like I'm building myself back up to who I'm going to be. Like I mentioned earlier in this video, it's like sometimes I'm in a tug of war between who I was and who I'm becoming. And so sometimes even in my thought process, it's like my old patterns of behavior, and then there's this new me who's just more aware. And I go back and forth between the two, but I feel like who I'm becoming is really rising. And part of who I'm becoming is becoming completely at peace with who I am. Becoming completely at peace with others as they are and accepting others as they are. Like I mentioned, Maya Angelou said, when someone shows you who they are, believe them. And that's something that took me a long time. And it's brought me so much, it's brought me a lot of pain to like accept people as they are, because I really wanted to see them as the beautiful soul that I was able to see in them. But that's not who people are. And it's like the more you try to see people for who you want to see them as and not for who they are, the more hurt and pain you'll experience by them. So maybe sometimes the best thing you can do for someone is to really just let them go and trust that, you know, if you really love them, then you can believe that they will change and that they will become better people. And sometimes, you know, you can realign and sometimes you don't. But the best decision for you, and when I say for you, I really just mean myself, is just like to really let go and trust the process. But anyways, let me know what you guys think about this video. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you guys at my next video. Bye.